essentially, John Cena came out and, you know, he did the kind of typical heel promo of like, you don't deserve me and you have always been bad to me. And I got where he was coming from. It was the, you know, the kind of anti-Cena chants and stuff like that. So I thought that was clever to play into that. But then I think they've gone kind of almost too far the other way of like, I won't give you what you want. Because I think because he had come out recently in a Chris Van Vliet interview about a year or so ago now, saying, look, I was going to turn heel. It's going to be new music. It was going to be get rid of the jorts. I was going to be a different kind of character. It would have been completely different to what you know from John Cena. I think everybody expected that this time round. And because that's out in the kind of open now, I feel like he's decided to go the other way and be like, no, I'm still John Cena, but you are the problem. And that's what you get a lot of times when people turn heel. Because it's such a monumental heel turn, it felt like, no, it wouldn't be. It'd be a complete change of his character. Now, don't get me wrong. There were still things about tonight's presentation that were different to what we're, you know, used to seeing from John Cena. But for the most part, the story he's told was, you guys have bullied me into being this, and it's all take. And, you know, what can I get out of it? Which, again, is an age-old story that heels will tell. But it wasn't what I expect. And while I do respect them trying something different, I have to be honest, I did feel a little disappointed that it wasn't what I wanted it to be. But I think, again, that's on purpose. It's to make us, even the people that wanted to like him as a cool heel, go, no, I'm a heel to you. Like, he's actually annoyed people tonight by not doing those things. I mean, what were your thoughts on the way it was presented and the kind of, I guess, promo that John Cena gave?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's one of those things that we have to unpack quite a lot of. But I think Michael Cole's reaction actually to it helped me a lot better than actually the segment. I think Michael Cole kind of painting this picture that obviously John Cena for 20 years, you know, he's had everyone kind of on his side, and then Corey Graves even slipping in, oh, we're getting like the real John Cena now, you know, and it's that kind of that realization to someone like a Michael Cole and how angry he got about it actually.
Yeah, it's great.
Made it, you know, made it go, oh, you know, this is the thing. I think they're towing that line between, okay, you know, lots of things on this thing are predetermined, but like that, this is real, like this is legit. And I think that's where they're kind of going with it. I feel that I don't know whether they're going to do something. I think next week's segment will determine it more than this week's in a weird way. I think next week's segment, they have the chance to obviously get the feedback from tonight. Yeah. But they also have the chance to kind of go, okay, this is the proper direction we want to go in. I think that, you know, Cena was it felt like he was kind of covering a lot of, in a weird way, I kind of think he said too much. I think this might be the problem. Yeah. I think if he had, the thing is, I thought, and I texted my friend this, I said he's doing Jericho 2012. You know, when he dropped the mic and then he left or went to leave and he picks back up and he dropped it again. Yeah. And in a weird way, I think that might have been better than what we got, because it kind of, he said too much.
It went on for long, didn't it? And I get the point they were making, but it's almost like in some ways nothing happened, you know. So it's kind of, because Cody come out and basically was, you know, a good picture of, look, I'm everything you said you were, and I am that guy now. You know, John Cena tried to little bro him, as they say, you know, said, look, kid, and he's like, look, ain't kid, you know. So I like that kind of interaction between the two characters and the kind of difference between what Cody now is, what Cena once was. But it weren't earth-shattering, was it? I think look, we could say, oh, look, he played us, he made, oh, you're not getting the theme song, you're not getting a new look. But at the same time, I also weren't that entertained. Like, I enjoyed it and I got it, but like, I did want more. And it's like, I don't know, like, there was part of me thinking, oh, he'll do this stuff in future, then he'll change this stuff in future, because we've now just got Cody going, and again, the age-old thing of, I want the real John Cena, like I want the old Stone Cold, you know, one of those kind of things. It felt like we've seen this story a lot of times before, but what's Cena going to do? Just be a bit more perky now going forward, or just, you can't now have a new look and a new theme song, because he's already said, like, they've chose the direction, which is I'm not doing it, and like, you can buy my merch, but you know, I don't dress like you dress like me. Like, oh, the other way around. Like, you know, whatever it was. It was like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just like obviously people's heads have been in fantasy booker mode, haven't they, since it's happened? It's been obviously just over 2 weeks, obviously, since Chamber. Since been off TV since then, and all we've done is replay the footage over and over and over again, you know, since then. But I do think that, yeah, I do think that, you know, somewhat decisions had been made and they've gone the way they've gone. I think next week's segment though should and it really should, because next week we are going to be within a month of WrestleMania taking place. I think next week's segment needs to basically determine the direction of fully where we're going with the story, because at the moment I think what's upsetting is that, look, if it is going to be a rehash of stories like this we've seen before, when someone's on a turn and then they've done the whole blaming the fans and blah blah, like we have seen that. And don't get me wrong, the caliber of the performers, you know, Cody Rhodes and John Cena, are able to tell that story. I think the problem is, from a fan perspective, this kind of once in a lifetime kind of level of turn deserves something more than the generic 100%. What we've seen before.
Yeah.
And at the moment, it's going down that route. And don't get me wrong, it will be a good version of that route because of the people involved. But I think we can just do a bit better here. We have the chance to something really groundbreaking. Like I said, he hadn't mentioned, obviously, The Rock and Travis Scott. And then I think as well, like, you know, as it kind of went on as well, you're just thinking, okay, but, you know, how is this going to impact the feud we're going to see? I think we haven't really got that just yet. And you could argue, like, them doing this as on the European tour and not in front of the American audience potentially has altered this a little bit. That was the other problem I had with we fast forward to Seth Rollins' promo. Like he's talking and doing his promo as if there's an American audience there, where, you know, the stuff that he's saying is meant to matter, but it's a European crowd and it's a bit different.
I do feel like, credit where it's due, it actually worked better than I thought it would, because that was my big fear going into it. I was like, how has Cena not had his first ever this monumental promo in front of an American audience? Not saying, oh, they deserve it more or whatever else, but like, that's their base, that's their ground level. My big fear was they were going to come to Europe and people would go, I'm happy to see Cena in his farewell tour, which they've been promoting anyway. They got the merch for it and all that. He still wore it, by the way, which is funny. But then B, in Europe, we tend to be a bit like Canada, of like, we love the bad guy, you know, and like, cool bad guy. So I thought but to be fair to the fans in Brussels, they played their part. They did the John Cena sucks, but louder than we've maybe ever heard it before, because that became like the "you suck" chant. It became a kind of endearing chant, really. You know, they played it, he played into it, whatever. This time it's very different. So I was pleasantly surprised with that. So I don't think that was as much as an issue as it could have been. It was more that. So I think this is the same promo we would have got in America, essentially. But there wasn't enough substance for it. Like you say, it was a monumental heel turn, I should say. A big moment. It'd be interesting to go back and watch Hogan's first appearance post NWO. I've seen a lot of the early stuff, but I can't quite pinpoint what the first heel Hogan promo was. It'd be interesting to maybe compare the two, because of course that's the feud, the storyline, I should say, in the heel turn that this is getting compared to the most. We'll see, you know, if this is on that level come a few months from here. But at the moment, I've got to be honest, tonight didn't deliver as much as I wanted. I liked it. I'm intrigued, which is maybe all you need.
With the Hogan thing, is obviously he.
Go ahead. Sorry, cut out a bit there.
Yeah, I was saying, like, with the Hogan thing, obviously he established himself with the NWO like straight away, and I think that helped because it got you the answer. Because I think obviously the minute someone turns on someone, there's always the why, and they're very quickly followed by like, okay, what's next? Like, is it going to be a turn that they're then going to have set up a match? Is it going to be a turn that's then going to escalate one of the people to have another match with someone else? You know, you got to ask the thing. And Hogan very quickly, he did it where he did a turn and straight away established, we are the NWO. This is why we're here. We're taking over. And so the goal was very, very simple. He wanted to become world champion. And so that goal was already kind of there. Don't get me wrong, Cena's goal is kind of there, I guess. He still wants to be WWE champion. I think in the last 30 years... I'm sorry?
He barely even said that. Like, that's what I thought this was going to be. I did it because I need that title. He did more of that when he was still technically a babyface than he did on this promo.
Yeah, I agree. There wasn't enough. Yeah, I think he spoke a lot about stuff, but not about the stuff that people actually wanted to speak about, which maybe is what we're going to get next week. And again, I don't think it's solely because of the location, but the location maybe has, and the fact, I guess, with respect, if he's looking at the fact he's now got to do 3 weeks of TV in a row, maybe they're thinking, okay, we've got to split things up over those 3 weeks, because with respect, he's probably not going to wrestle in any of these 3 TV shows. So it's a case of, but I would have just kept this promo a bit shorter, particularly because you had the heat like built in already, so there was no need to overly speak. But I think in a weird way, speaking so much, he's kind of cost himself like a little bit. So I do maintain that once Cody got going, I said his piece, and then that last kind of final shot and walk up the ramp, I think that was quite powerful. Like him walking up the ramp to boos, fully boos, not like dueling chants or anything like that, full boos, and him looking at the audience, and just there was kind of that look of disgust with them, but also is the disgust also on himself a bit. I think this is multi-layered. This is the thing. I do think this turn is everything about this is multi-layered. I think that it's not that, and that's why maybe I think we're both upset about parts of the promo, because parts of the promos made it seem like it was that default kind of turn, but I think it's more layered than that. I still think there's that inner battle. John Cena, obviously he wants a 17th championship, and he's seen this as a possible avenue, because the other avenues, well, one of the avenues closed on him with the Rumble, and obviously the Chamber. But even the Chamber, he only won because Rollins,
in a heelish way, he took advantage of it. Yeah, maybe you're right.
And he
let's go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I was saying that he stole that. He took the cheaper victory that night, didn't he, at the Chamber?
Yeah, no, I think you could be right as well with that kind of internal battle thing. It could be that, because I do think he'll end the farewell tour as a babyface and win as a babyface, but that's another conversation for another day. But I do think that might come into this. He might say, look, I was just trying to convince myself. Like, he's disappointed. Like it was, like you said, that final shot was powerful. As much as there were things about this I wish we got, I still enjoyed things we did see in it. And the opening bit and the last bit were probably the best parts, really, of like, this is surreal. Like, I'm seeing John Cena come out, not just like him coming out with a new theme and new look would have been cool and great, and like, oh my gosh, this is a different guy. But it's also surreal seeing the same guy come out, the babyface, like dressed John Cena, come out and be booed. Like it was basically like everyone had caught up to what, let's say 50% of the audience felt 15 years ago. It felt like One Night Stand or something like that. It felt like that kind of audience. So really, really interesting.